Are you stuck at this one level you've been trying to beat? Do you feel like you've hit your skill ceiling? Well, you haven't. You're probably just playing the game wrong. But fret not, because today I'll be going over 10 tips for your progression in Geometry Dash so you can finally impress that girl that rejected you at school last week.
Look, I finally beat 9 circles. Now will you date me?
No, you fucking dark.
Alright, starting off with tip number 1, never, and I mean never, jump.
But VJ, Zoink jumped too and now he's...
You are not Zoink, buddy. Listen, jumping only hinders your progression. For those who don't know, jumping is when you go from a rather easy level to something way harder just to be cool or something. However, not only will 99% of you get extremely bored and demotivated from doing this, it also does not have as big of an effect on your skill as some people think it does. Also, that girl from your school is probably into guys following a linear progression, not silly jumpers. Next up, blitzkrieg. Everyone learns levels in different ways. Some practice from the beginning, some practice from the end, and some don't practice at all. And then there's also this mod called blitzkrieg. It's a very nice tool designed to gain the max amount of skill possible from the level you're currently going for. The mod tasks you to do very small runs first, and after you've done those, the runs keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you're eventually tasked with some ridiculous runs like 9 to 100. Now, that last part may sound a bit weird, but there is actually some science behind this, and it should work as intended. Don't believe me? Well, listen to what Nixon said.
It's been a known method for a while, primarily in the Russian community, and it's been used by players like A6, Servax, Wordy, and even our shadow.
Anyways, the key is not everyone will benefit from practicing with blitzkrieg, so definitely try it out, but don't feel forced to use it by any means. For the next tip, we'll be talking about hardware, and then specifically input devices. You do not need a Wooting ADHD or a SEO device to be good at this game. I've seen some people struggle at levels like club step, and then instead of reflecting on themselves and figuring out you're supposed to practice levels to be able to beat them, they go ahead and buy themselves some $1,000 keyboard with rapid switch this, -1 millisecond input delay that. Guys, unless you're a top player, buying expensive hardware is not a good investment in the slightest. You'd be better off spending that money on 162 McDonald's double cheeseburgers. Trust me. For tip number 4, just use CBF. It's officially in the game now, so there are no more excuses. Just use click between frames. Now, the following tip might be somewhat unpopular, but just hear me out. Do not beat 9 circles as your first hard demon. Do not beat Cataclysm as your first extreme. Just because the level is popular does not mean you have to go for it. I personally had a horrible experience with 9 circles, for example, and I didn't even beat it as a new hardest. Instead, I recommend you to beat a different level around the same difficulty, perhaps even with a higher enjoyment rating. Because would you rather beat Cake by the Ocean, live a happy life, start a family of 4, be rich and successful, or beat Jawbreaker and literally break your jaw by bashing your head fiercely into a concrete wall, losing all your sanity, and smashing your keyboard to pieces? Tip numero 6, don't be single game mode carried. I'm honestly so tired of these people gaslighting themselves into thinking their skill set is carried by one particular game mode. Like, their hardest could be Ultra Paracosm, and they go boasting about being wave carry. Not only is this outright stupid, but I've also never understood why people like to flex being wave carried or ship carried or swing carried. It is so important to have a mixed skill set. If you're only focusing on getting good at one game mode, you'll never actually progress well. Besides, remember that girl from school? Well...
Man, I hate single game mode carry players.
Wanna know what gave me the biggest skill boost? Maybe beating Hypersonic? Perhaps grinding new hardest for 8 hours per day? No, none of that. I gained the most skill when I simply wasn't playing. That's right. Before I started seriously making content, I used to take very long breaks when, for example, trying to beat a new hardest. I'd play for a few days, then forget about it for 2 weeks, and come back to it and just rinse and repeat. Now, this is kind of an extreme approach. Your breaks do not have to be this lengthy, but they are still essential. If you're grinding GD 8 hours per day for weeks on end, you'll just lose all your motivation. Trust me, this is a worse fate than beating Jawbreaker and literally breaking your jaw by bashing your head fiercely into a concrete wall, losing all your sanity, and smashing your keyboard to pieces. Now, this next tip is extremely overlooked in my opinion. Use lists for your progression. What I mean is, refer to lists like the GDDL to make a good ladder progression, making sure the difficulty gaps between demons aren't too big or too small. Or refer to certain challenge lists such as the PUCP to increase your skill with short challenges. Or maybe even use the global stats viewer to challenge yourself to climb the global leaderboard. Or how about you just give up? Yeah, you heard me, just give up. Well, that would be tip number 9. Just drop levels. It's important to understand that you don't have to beat every level you play to gain skill from it. If you have a level in 3 runs, but then you come to realize it's actually very weirdly balanced, don't be afraid to just give up and drop it. You've already gained skill from it, and you can come back to it later when you've gotten better at the game. Now, for this very last part of the video, we'll be looking at some tips shared by people on my Discord server. Starting off with hate on swing. Alright, we're off to a great start. Do not fill hypersonic at 93%. Thank you, Blue. That is very appreciated. Jump from Deco to an insane demon and then beat Wazaretta as your first extreme. Then beat the Golden with no clip by accident and then hack the entire main list and become the best player. Okay, I'm never asking my server anything ever again. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing because according to YouTube, only 98% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, which is an extremely low number. So let's try to make it 100. Alright, bye.
Hey, check it out. Finally beat 9 circles. Hey. Yeah, please date me. Please date me. Look. I finally beat... No, that's enough. You have enough fucking voice line.